All right, welcome back. Welcome back to the show. I'm going to try to turn on my camera, but if it's acting up, I'll turn it back off. But welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. All right, that's me right there. Let's see if we can manage. Welcome to Sharp Edge News TV. Today we have a fantastic show and lineup of stories to cover today. Without any further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce my very own personal person, my uncle, High Chief Oladimeji Abi Togun, the editor-in-chief and publisher of SharpEdgeNews.com. Welcome, sir.
Good to be back with you, Ola.
Awesome. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, follow, hit the notification, blah, blah, blah. You know what time it is. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow button so you're notified whenever we go live. I appreciate you for doing so. On today's special report, Sharp Edge News Special Report, we're going to talk a little bit about hardship in Nigeria prisons, poor feeding, violence, and protests. There's actually a report here on Sowore's very own Sahara Reporters platform. And also, by the way, Sowore is back in the United States. We're going to talk about that as well. As a matter of fact, let me let the chief pick. Do you want me to play the video of Sowore talking in New Jersey first, or you want me to talk about which one do you want to go with first?
We go first to Correctional Service.
All right, let's do that. So on the Correctional Service report here on Sahara Reporters, there's a special report, and I'm just going to read a small excerpt from it, and then we'll take the conversation from there. There's a letter that was received by the chief that he shared with me earlier on. Unfortunately, because of the limitations with the technology today, there's only so much you can do.
The letter emanating from the desk of Nahatu Mahama,
right,
Assistant Controller of Correctional Service.
Awesome.
So
let me do a quick intro of what we're talking about, and then I'll let you take it from there, right? So on the letter, it says something about attention CWIS desk officers, upward review of correctional welfare insurance scheme, contributions and benefits, request for sensitization and opinion sampling. The Correctional Welfare Insurance Scheme, CWIS Board of Trustees, at its meeting held on the 27th of November 2023, have approved the process of upward review of correctional welfare insurance scheme, contributions and benefits. This is sequel to the resolution in the communique reached at the Correctional Welfare Insurance. All right, so I'm going to leave that at that. The special report that I'm looking at on Sahara Reporter says the spokesperson for NCOS, Umar Abubakar, said on Friday, stating that inmates' feeding and welfare would not be tampered with to avoid attacks and protests in the custodial centers. The Nigeria Correctional Service, NCOS, has said it is not alienated from the economic hardship, saying the welfare of over 75,000 inmates in its custody cannot be toyed with amid the rising economic hardship across the country. So you also mentioned something about Mr. Olubunmi. What was his name? Mr.
Olubunmi Ojo.
Olubunmi Ojo.
Minister of Interior.
The Minister of Interior. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and let you...
now paying adequate attention to the welfare of men and women in the various ancillary paramilitary services under the watch of the Ministry of Interior. But here, let us zero in on the memo that came from AC Bahama.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. First of all, educate me as well on what is going on.
The so-called correctional service welfare insurance scheme. Let's just call it the welfare scheme for the workers of the ministry or of the correctional service in particular. And through this, in the past, various contributions were made, deductions were checked off the monthly salaries of the men and women in the correctional service, Nigerian correctional service. Therefore, you would expect that whenever any of these officials get sick, officers, when they are sick, in case of being bereaved and all that, they are supposed to be given like minimum of 250,000 naira uh, in respect of such care, injury, whatever. But that has never been the case. Apart from the fact that Ahmed Jafaru, who Isato was the uh, Controller General of Correctional Service, who has now become the chairman of the governing board, the governing council of the prison service, I mean, or the correctional service, becoming somebody that's continued to have this hold on the uh, smooth operational mode of the agency. Uh, Whenever these contributions are made, are checked off, you can be sure that everything will empty in the personal covers of uh, Ahmed Jafaru. Ali Runababa, the man we have identified as noted, Mr. Noted, because of his limited expressional capabilities or cognitive proficiency, continues to be a good lackey of Jafaru. Jafaru, having served his term as the Controller General, was supposed to have left completely, but he left, but continues to have this grip on the service. And so through Ali Runababa, you find out that that is the current Controller General. You find out that they operate a conundrum through which they freeze off whatever is supposed freeze off what is supposed to be for the welfare of the generality of the staff, to the extent that from the checkups that were taken monthly from the men and women in correctional service, the Nigerian correctional service built a magnificent hotel on the Airport Road, Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport Road in Abuja there, known as Caucus. Whatever comes as profit from this laudable investment, which, by the way, was built through direct labor, and whatever profit, dividend declared, is never even declared. Everything empties into the pocket of Ahmed Jafaru, dutifully assisted by Ali Runababa. And lately, when uh, the assistant controller in charge of the welfare program was promoted, she was not even yet due for that promotion. There are internal squabbles and problems, and what has now been identified as their tendency to make it like an exclusive preserve of or privilege for a certain section of Nigeria. You know, no federal character reflected as should uh, it's to be upheld. All these things were going on there, to the point that staff continue to suffer. And when federal government decided to announce a wage award recently, uh, minimum of 35,000 naira every month, to make sure that these people are cornered again, they came up with this idea of an increment in the amount that is to be checked off each employee's salary every month. And that is really very insensitive and bordering on corruption, financial corruption of the highest order, under the watch of the Minister of Interior, who is supposed to network every service under him and make sure that Nigerians who work dutifully do not suffer. Workers within correctional service continue to suffer. And Olubunmi Ojo is turning the other way. Now, to the ridiculous issue of a possibility of prison riots breaking out as a result of a food ration, and what have you. You would not believe that on the average today, at sitting, whether you go to a cafeteria, mama put, or wherever eating arrangement in Nigeria, or at a sitting per meal, you may spend up to 2,000 naira. So, 3 square meal may cost you average of 6,000 naira. But you will not believe it that the last review for the feeding of Nigerian correctional inmates was done in 2017, and it was pegged at 750 naira per day. The contractors, with what they are paid, are not even able to feed these inmates properly. And it has become a situation of weaponizing hunger. These are people that are supposed to be corrected in all material ways. But now they become more ardent because the Nigerian government has weaponized hunger. Even before the current riotous economic situation in Nigeria, arrangements between various state controllers of correctional service and what's it called? The Controller General in Abuja. Make sure that more money flows into the pockets of highly placed officials, Jafaru at the M, and other subordinates. And prisoners are not well fed. Today, it's become so bad that there was going to be a riot at just prison. In fact, there was a situation of unrest in just prisons the other day. Instead of going to the root of it, the Senate chairman on correctional service, interior ministry, Mr. Adams Oshomole, with all the razzmatazz, the theatrics he demonstrated the other day, has ensured that dogs, you know, dogs that are used in the service get better feeding allowance than humans. They increased the feeding of dogs to 2,500 per day, but the inmates, the primary what's it called? The primary subject within that system has not enjoyed any increase whatsoever. And that is typical of Adams Oshomole. Even when he was leading labor, you would see all kinds of motion, no movement. He has the capacity for deceiving Nigerians on his intent and their purpose. Is he a dutiful? A dutiful lawmaker, a dutiful public servant in Nigeria? That question will continue to be asked about Mr. Adams Oshomole, the former governor of Edo State and former chairman of the ruling party in Nigeria. So this is the situation that the correctional service is in today. And Olubunmi Ojo continues to be applauded, celebrated. His wife already fingered in the fiasco, the corruption situation with the humanitarian service and ministry in Nigeria through his company. TINUBU turns the other way as if there are no troubles within his cabinet. So the question will be asked, like Jesus was asked in the days of old, is this the person that is being expected to come and deliver the good for Nigerians, or we shall wait for another, whether it's TINUBU, Olubunmi Ojo, Ahmed Jafaru, Ali Runababa, all of them? This is how Nigerians will continue to wait in the hope that the renewed hope can be trusted. That is the special report from the Nigeria Correctional Service. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you very much for that. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, and follow. Turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. We'll be back in 20 seconds. All right, welcome back. House GOP wonders who will talk to Donald Trump if he returns to the White House. I'm going to read a little small excerpt from a report here on USA Today. It says, Washington, as former President Donald Trump has all but secured the Republican nomination in his quest to retake the White House, House Republicans are grappling with one key question as he marches towards the nomination. Hold on one second. All right, there you go. As he marches towards the nomination, who's going to deal with him if he wins the second term? If Trump wins re-election, someone in the House Republican conference will have to be the liaison between the former president and the lower chamber. Who that person will be isn't exactly clear to some GOP lawmakers. Of course, all administrations coordinate closely with Capitol Hill to enact their agenda, but designee for Trump will be especially consequentially because of his at times erratic behavior compared to his predecessors. What are your thoughts about this, sir?
So, for the benefit of our viewers all over the world who do not understand the meaning of GOP. GOP means the Grand Old Party, and that is Republican Party in the United States. So when did they now wake up from their slumber to understand that former President Donald Trump, the Don himself, is a difficult presidential personality? That would be difficult. I mean, that would be hard for anybody to rein him, for anybody to act in the capacity of a go-between for the president and the lower house, the House of Representatives in the United States Congress. These people, like we have predicted, they have been enablers. They allowed a literal takeover, walkover for Donald Trump to reframe and recharacterize or characterize or mischaracterize the Republican Party as Donald Trump's party. They enabled him. They saw whatever happened January 6th that year. For the whole thing, you saw the way they have cunningly framed it as if, oh, Donald Trump was in office from 2017 to 2020 and that it was great. But how about the last 1 year that was the defining point for Donald Trump's presidency? For example, at the peak of COVID, Donald Trump, like, I don't know how to compare him with, telling people to drink bleach in order to combat COVID-19 and acting in complete denial, and this scornful of the disease control body in the United States, and then the bodies that were in freezers all over the US in millions. How are we going to forget as Americans how many of our compatriots died under the watch of Donald Trump, while he continues to scheme on how to dig in and sit tight in office, something that is almost an aberration, strange to the constitutional democracy that America enjoys, that America has enjoyed uninterrupted for more than 240, over 240 years. They enabled him in all this. So now they suddenly woke up, and like I predicted here before, I said, it should be a foregone conclusion. It should be a foregone conclusion that Donald Trump will win the Republican Party primary nomination. The order for him, however, is in the fact that the Democratic base would be energized and people will come out. And you look at the polls now, other than what I've heard from Nigerian analysts, one of them talking of a shallak by um, Donald Trump, something that was, I mean, basically an internal headache for Republican Party, making it to look like, oh, it's celebration time. Donald Trump will become the next president of the United States of America. That would be a tall situation. It would be a tall order to expect that that idea will fly. And listen to the State of the Union address from President Joe Biden the other night. Look at the way he framed him, the way he characterized him, the way he's been able to set the tone, and everybody suddenly woke up like a time of old in America. You know, before the attack on Pearl Harbor, when America, the sleeping giant, supposedly had to join the Second World War and then set the tone for the turning point in that war. That is the way Americans have been those are. But when when Joe Biden took that stage and made a passionate plea, a passionate speech, say, this is Donald Trump. This is almost like a choice between you and, I mean, this is the choice you have. Choose between Donald Trump and doing nothing whatsoever. And the whole thing has been re-energized. That poll that was given a free pass to Donald Trump has been reversed ever since. So this is not the time for Republican congressmen to begin to wonder how they would be able to manage him. Who would they listen to? Would he ever listen? He does not listen to anybody. And you saw that this man constitutes a serious and present danger to the survival of America itself, the world that we know today. Well, if he comes to office, because that is the man who signaled the tone for all kinds of characters, including Buhari in Nigeria, TINUBU today in Nigeria. And he's always willing to kiss up to people who you cannot really trust on integrity and what have you when it comes to public governance. People in North Korea, people in China, people in Russia, those are the friends he knows. Those are the people he venerates. So this is a choice between having that kind of individual in office. They have called him erratic. Good for them. Are they just knowing that? When we get there, when that moment of election comes next November, we'll see the way America will swing. But as usual, I would take it for granted that the popular vote would be clinched by the Democratic Party. The Electoral College victory is what everybody, that permutation is what everybody should be worried about, so that America and its core values would survive.
All right, all right. Thank you so much for that. Personally, I'm just watching, so
Yeah, we'll
we shall
continue to watch,
we shall see.
but
You know,
yeah, it's a watch that must lead in in the direction. That can make the world safer for all of us.
awesome, great. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you are notified whenever we go live. Hit the like button, share, subscribe. Help us share the word with everyone else out there. All right, we have some other stories to cover today. We'll be back in 20 seconds. All right, nearly 300 students kidnapped in northwest Nigeria. Desperation grows after 2 days. There's a special report here that I want us to bring up really quickly. I'm reading a very short excerpt real quickly from apnews.com. It says, hold on one second, there you go. Rashidat Amza is in despair. All but one of her 6 children are among the nearly 300 students abducted from their school in Nigerian Northwest, riddled with Islamic extremists and armed gangs. It has been more than 2 days after her children, ages 7 to 18, went to school in the remote town of Kuriga in Kaduna State, only to be kidnapped by gunmen. She was still in shock Saturday. Authorities said at least 100 children aged 12 or younger were among the adoptees in the state known for violent killings, lawlessness, and dangerous roads where people get regularly snatched. We don't know what to do, and I quote, "We don't know what to do, but we believe in God," Amza told the Associated Press during a visit to the town. What is going on in Kaduna, Chief?
This is really sad. It is sad. It shows that Nigerian leaders are at the end of their imagination, end of intelligence, end of robust, proactive actions to stop all these terror machines in their tracks. Over and over, instead of Nigeria as a country demonstrating that the terrorists and kidnappers and headsmen don't get it more than once. Now they have their back to the ground, and you find out that these evil people who have constituted themselves into criminal gangs and miscreants continue to win against the Nigerian state all the time. This is a characteristic frankly brutal report from Associated Press, and kudos to them. They got it properly. But what they should have injected there was that, according to local sources, some of these sources, teachers in one of the schools that were affected, saying that close to 700 or more than 700 pupils, students, were initially seized and kidnapped by this gang. You know, how did that happen? How were they able to penetrate and compromise the security arrangement around the state? And this is a state where they're under Kaduna Little Finger, Nasir El-Rufai as governor, and the current governor that made so much fuss and celebration, showmanship of recruiting thousands of vigilantes under that kind of arrangement. After so much money has been spent, this still happened. We thought this would have been over with Chibok girls, and over and over and over and over. You will find out that within last week alone, all over Nigeria, more than 400 kidnapped victims were recorded. People killed in thousands. This has become a newfound revenue base for some misguided Nigerian youths and leaders, people who fund them within the Nigerian system. So, 48 hours, even as we talk now, almost 4 days after the unfortunate incident. Remember that Nigerian authorities kept mute for the first 48 hours. They were going to behave as if nothing happened. These are people, you see, it can only get better from this point. Don't let me wish for the country of our our country of origin, the worst happenings. This is really sad. It will look like this is contained up, to the northern part of Nigeria. No. If we continue to sit down like this and act in pride as if we do not need assistance from the world community, this is going to spread all over the entire place. And it's already happening everywhere. Like I told you the other day, in all the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria, nobody can sleep with the 2 eyes closed anymore. Yes, people who
Yeah,
continue to
because of
chase
insecurity.
insecurity. So it's unfortunate now, like I have indicated in a previous reports, some of these girls that will be violated, that will be um, raped. Some of them will be impregnated prematurely. Their
Mm,
life dreams and goals terminated
mm,
midway. This in this disturbing fashion, and unfortunately, many of them will end up being sold into slavery in far-flung places like the Sudan, Mauritania, and several other homes
mm.
that it will become so difficult to have them back as a block. Is this what Nigeria wants to continue to deal with?
Hmm.
And you point this out. Nigerian leaders are critical. Oh, things happen in America, things happen in Britain. The difference, however, is this. Leaders in America, Britain, elsewhere in the civilized world, they don't sit back and do nothing. They don't sit back and talk just about money, 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 how to make their citizens all the time without giving them a better deal.
Hmm.
Nigerian leaders should be thinking. If they have removed the thinking hat or cap, then they should resign. This is shameful enough. This is shameful enough.
Hmm.
This is
I
sad.
see.
What a
So,
terrible season for Nigeria.
so I have a question, right?
Yes, sir.
In completion of this story, there's a report here that says, I'm going to play a video really quickly. It says Sokoto government launches community guards, guard corps. They're calling it some kind of bold step. I don't know, but let me play this short video, and then let's see if this is a move in the right direction to help, or this is just another fluff. I will be back in about 20 seconds.
It's no longer news that insecurity in the northwest geopolitical zone is getting worse, with frequent kidnappings and killings by bandits, disruption of economic and social activities in most of the communities in the region. However, some of the state governments are responding to this challenge, which is why the Sokoto state government is today officially launching its own community guard corps. Members of the Community Guard Corps display skills acquired during their training to show their preparedness to combat banditry and other criminal activity in Sokoto State in support of conventional security agencies.
Okay, so just to bring you up to speed with what we were watching there, that's basically they're training some, I don't know, guard cops, some people using head to break bricks, punching into a small plywood. But this is Sokoto launching.
Like since from medieval Chinese artists.
And actually yelling like
like
a bunch of Chinese people or Bruce Lee's trainees. But let me
and then
ask
screaming
you.
and screaming and running like that. I mean, like lions in the savannah that way. Is that
Right.
how? I do not know.
So let me ask you:
How
is this
does
a
that-
move in the right direction? Is this, Abi? What can we take this as? I don't know.
Well, maybe Nigeria is waking up to the reality, or particularly states in the northern part of Nigeria that, for the most part, over the last 40, 50 years or so, have deliberately opposed the return of Nigeria into regional arrangement or through federalism that would enable some degree of autonomy over local policing, which is what they call state police. But the whole idea is it's not being articulated properly. Community policing, yes. State police in the hands of people. You just need to take a copy of the book, My Adventures in Power. Travesty, that is the second installment of Obafemi Awolowo's trilogy. But where it describes travesty of democracy and the rule of law. published by Spectrum Books in 1987, I think. You need to take a copy of that. In those days, our elements in the north would instigate native police authority to invade spaces that were being used for political campaigns by opponents. Principally, the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo of Action Group, not Action Congress, pardon me, of Action Group, AG, and his allies within the Middle Belt Progressive Union, Northern Elements of Progressive Union, NEPU, and so on and so forth. All those local alliances, they were broken up with the use of the Native Authority Police up north in those days. And it did not even get better down south, where this same Native Authority Police were used to hand down political opponents. So that was the situation before the January 15 military intervention that has been known as the revolution in Nigeria. But with this, whether it's Amotekun down south or the Sokoto group that has just been inaugurated, the worry is in the fact that would Nigerians be able to get it right? Because elsewhere in the world, it's an aberration to find a behemoth national police arrangement such that Nigeria has, the one they call Nigeria police, whether they put force or no force behind it, they act with impunity most times. So the question will be asked, if Nigeria continues to explore this possibility of local police, yes, I believe in community policing, campus police, local government or county police, town or city police, state police, local government police, and then the coordinatory federal police, almost like the equivalent of Federal Bureau of Investigation in FBI. But Nigeria even has an equivalent of FBI, the SSS or DSS in Nigeria. But you see the way they are often being deployed. They are used to repress opposition. They are used to oppress the poor. Unless Nigeria is able to design something that is protective for the generality of the citizens, something that defends the emergence of strong institutions instead of strong individuals, people that are protected by the special protection unit, what have you, while majority of the people languish in insecurity. We are not going anywhere. These things should be properly addressed. They should be properly arranged. I do not have all the answers. I alone can't provide all the answers, which is why it is commonsensical to have everybody at a round table arrangement, not somebody sitting on the high table and then facing the others. Everybody must be equal at that table. Provide solutions, ideas, suggestions on way forward. But the overwhelming presence of the police as it is in Nigeria today cannot continue. There must be a fusion of local elements, components, suggestions, and structures to how we go forward. I have articulated this at a forum that I was invited to by certain individuals, led by the then lawyer to Nasir El-Rufai in Abuja. And I think that is the way to go. Okay. This is an overkill of state control that they call Nigeria Police Force. You can't just continue like that.
All right, great. All right, we're gonna round that up right there. Do us a favor. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Share your comments below. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. Thank you. We'll be back in about 20 seconds. Let's do it. Welcome back. Albert WIGWE's PA reveals details of his last hours with the ill-fated flight. Let's just play a small part of this video and then we'll talk about it. Maybe a little bit longer than small. You know, there's some things we need to capture. Just let me know once you're ready to take over. Okay. All right.
11 hours. We flew from London to Palm Springs. I remember in the middle of the air, I walked up to him. I said, "Sir, how comfortable are you flying chopper at night? I've never done it before." And he said a word. He said, "This is America. They have navigation system for flying chopper at night." And I went back to my seat. And we landed. Everybody was filled with joy that we're finally almost there. Sat, waited to be cleared by immigration, and we came out. So coming out, we had 2 vans waiting. One was to take us to go board the chopper. The other was to take our luggage because they cannot go on the chopper. Throughout my year of working with him, I've always told myself that flying that way is not a luxury for me. I am on duty. And as they were loading the luggages, and this thought started playing in my mind that, okay, you will fly chopper, 1 hour you're there. The next 3.5 hours, the luggages are not going to come. Will I go to bed? No. I still have to sit down and wait for those luggages to come. And I'm like, so why not just go with the luggages and get there and deliver to him and others in the room? Like I said, I always reason in the line of duty. And I walked up to him. I said, "Sir, I think it's safer and will be secure for me to just ride and bring the luggage to you." It's a brilliant idea. And I said, "Safe flight." Since 2019, I cannot count 1 or 2 places or flights that is being in that I'm not in it. We are always together. I can recall, Madam will always tell anybody, if you need to talk to my husband, look for Shola. They build that trust, they build that confidence in me. And I drove off. And they went to board. 2.5 hours.
It's almost done. It's like a few seconds. Okay. Yeah.
Into my own journey. 2.5 hours into my own journey. I was a bit sleepy in the car. So at exactly 10:09, mind you, the chopper went down at 10:08. At 10:09, something just pricked me, and I picked up my phone. I'm like, they should have landed, in my own estimation, and I called him first. It wasn't ringing. I called Madam. It didn't ring. She asked 3 numbers. I called the 3 numbers. I called Cheesy. I called Mr. Bimbo. So I started sweating in the car. I was afraid. I was still on the road, going to Vegas, and I tried to reach Mr. Ike. I guess, he just arrived. He arrived earlier than us, and he was sleeping. I kept calling. I couldn't reach him. And suddenly, I called the driver that was to pick us up when we land with the chopper. If you notice, I still refer to us because every time I still see myself flying with them. And he said 30 minutes ago, he cannot see them on the radar again.
Right. All right.
Yeah, talk of somebody that had a foreboding kind of premonition. If you describe Mr. Shola Falai as being clairvoyant, you will be right. And for many of us, there were moments like that. I remember the situation in which I was involved that got me seriously hurt, left me with considerable, tangible vision loss. Left me bionic and with all kinds. When it was going to happen to me that day, I had told my late older brother's wife. She may be watching this. She's still alive, but the husband is going to be with the Lord. The Princess Elizabeth Abitogun, Mommy DJ. I said, I have a strong foreboding that something wants to kill me. But praise be to the Lord, because the Bible says the thief does not only come in order to steal, but to kill and possibly destroy. Lo and behold, a few hours later, I was almost a dead man. Kidnapped, I had to fight for my life, and then with my abductors ended in a dish with terrible injuries. That was the kind of moment Mr. Shola Falai, the former personal assistant, or do we still call him? Can't be assisting the dead anymore, but the former personal assistant to later Herbert WIGWE. That was the moment he was dealing with. And let me also tell you, people who know me, they will know that I try to be more empirical, scientific in dealing with issues of life. But some things too are undeniable.
Yeah.
And I don't want us going into paranormal or psychic stuff here. But has there not been that moment when sometimes things happen for not just reason? Something pricks you, something nudges you, and then it's almost connecting with the exact time or the second when some momentous stuff had happened somewhere that you cannot put a handle on. I was sleeping in my university room reading a book on KGB, 1991, and then I saw something moved, like maybe apparition. Snow White, the back of my window. 2 minutes later, if somebody like Nireti Afolabi and former Mrs. Esther Obani, Miss Esther Obani, my university contemporaries who had come with Ife Jobi and Seyi Abitogun to inform me that my mom had died at home. If they're watching this, they can confirm this live. I was actually, because that thing moved the first time, I ignored it. The second time it moved, then I ran out of my hostel room. Right at the staircase at Similoluwa university student hostel in Ado-Ekiti, I met people who had come to inform me that, but they played that card. They didn't tell me what had happened at home, but they just said they needed me back home. Can you connect between that and something happening at about 10:08, and then the phone of Mr. Shola Falai, a nudge, and then he picked this phone 10:09. Did you see that?
Yeah.
There are things,
1009.
but I'm not crazy like people who spend their entire life chasing after the hoax of UFOs in America, defrauding the American public taxpayer with something that leads to nowhere. It's a big deal. That you talk about it, you talk against it with
It's,
people who are entrenched with that kind of situation in America.
As a quick,
they may come after you.
Quick correction, Shola Faleye.
Okay, Mr. Shola Faleye, yes.
Yep.
So, all these situations, that is the name of later WIGWE's personal assistant. All these situations, they nudge you into, and we must give kudos to Shola Faleye for him to have been able to. He was closely involved in all this. Do you know
directly? One of the few flies that is not inside ever.
Do you know the mental and medical toll on him personally, and yet he was still able to come back to put in place alongside the officials of Access Bank a befitting farewell stuff for
it must be tough
for the WIGWEs. And he was in charge of. He was the owner of the choir that was on stage throughout that event.
Oh, wow.
He composed most of the songs that were in public display there.
Wow!
So
wow!
This is the enormity, the weight that this man has on his soul. What can we say at this point? Yes, even look at the breakdown, the theory contributions, eulogy from the former emir of Kano. I mean, that was moving. Royal fathers you don't see them crying like that, but this man wept.
From Dangote, from the daughter. What are your thoughts about the daughter being dragged over the internet, that she didn't stand up to say to the vice president? She handshook the vice president from sitting down, and she was dragged quite a bit over the past few days.
Whoever is going to drag her like that should first lose his or her mother. I mean, she first lose his or her mother, father, and a sibling on the same day. You do not know. For example, when I lost my own mother in 1991, I did not cry openly, but each time I saw my grandmother or I saw the crowd of sympathizers and I was left alone, especially when for the first time I was alone in the night. I can't recall the kind of tears flowing. See, it was hot, like the water you want to use to prepare a bath. But in the open, it was not deliberate on my part. I can be highly emotional, but I did. So that lady was dealing with so much. Whoever is doing this on the internet is just being ungodly and
they should be ashamed of themselves. How about
they
that?
ought to. They ought to.
Yeah. All right, let's leave this story here. Let's move on to some other things. Condolences to the family of WIGWE. It's tough. I don't even know what to say after that. That must be tough. Watching it like that was heavy, But yeah, we'll be back in about 20 seconds. Let us know your thoughts. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be back in 20 seconds.
That Nigeria has become. We've been pointing to the lies and propaganda being told of a Lagos that has been built and that will be replicated at the federal level. They'll point at some moribund rail lines. Let's talk about that. 16 or 17 years at God knows how much inflated cost they built the blue line. They're talking about a red line now. Question is, how much of that red line actually belongs to the federal government? How much of it was built by Lagos state government? At what cost? Fact of the matter is that if we actually look to the evidences of our eyes and we look to what we see within the states that the man has superintended for over 20 years in one form or the other, whether as governor or as godfather, Reality is that he should tell us that we should expect nothing in Nigeria. And the evidence of the last 9 months are unimpeachable and cannot be denied. I know that the convenient excuse is always that Buhari had damaged it and is repairing it. But who brought Buhari? Who was the chief marketer of Buhari in 2014, 2015 when the change lie was sold to Nigerians? The fact of the matter is that until we all come to the knowledge of the fact that nobody is coming to save us but we ourselves, nothing is going to change. And there is nothing that has been done by this man to suggest that we should expect anything positive. In fact, we should brace ourselves for more to come.
Wow.
All right. Let's... That is a lot. FAROTIMI, DELE FAROTIMI slams TINUBU, chief marketer of Buhari, can't separate himself from the rot. What is your take on this one, Chief?
Quite apt. Mr. DELE FAROTIMI has never shied from telling truth to the current minders of the Nigerian project, the government of the day in Nigeria. Remember, at some point, he spoke at on a television channel, and all hell was let loose. So this is a characteristic of him, and you can take this from the system that there must be people who can man up and say things as they are. Because each time I deal with the fact that TINUBU must be given a chance, I'm still looking at the interpersonal arrangement between TINUBU and Buhari that led to that Emiloko moment. Remember that outburst? That, yeah. Emiloko. Yeah, that kind of thing. So you're talking of a national project, the presidency. But how did it become a tic-tac between two individuals, between TINUBU and Muhammadu Buhari at that point? And then way back in 2014, when APC was just coming together from the new PDP, the aggrieved elements within what was it called? ABGA, all kinds of coalition, all forms and shapes coming together then.
To make APC. Yeah.
TINUBU was reported to have said that he was having his political eureka moment. I find it out to eventually dislodge these people, make things work, and then Buhari networking with him from up north and it leading certain elements from the southwest, and then aggrieved element individuals like Rotimi Amechi, and all kinds of characters coming together. That eureka moment then led to TINUBU, who for the first 2 years of the first time of Buhari, TINUBU was ostracized. He was sidetracked, and reportedly he spent months living in Guinea. Nobody reached out to him, and he too decided not to to interact with the government of the day until they needed him for a second time, and they went to search him out. They went to search for him. Probably that was the moment when that deal was cut. That after you, it has to come to me. So, whatever FAROTIMI is saying now, he is vindicated. He has some justifications. To want to distance TINUBU from Buhari is going to be a difficult. It's going to be a hard sell. Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Hello?
Continue.
Yes, it's going to be a hard sell. In fact, for anybody to buy that, that would be a terrible buy. It will be a bad buy. If there could be a good buy, then there could be a bad buy too. So it will be a terrible thing to accept. So FAROTIMI, talking in these terms, yes, it is allowed, and that is the way opposition should go. I mean, these people would want to say, the government of the day would want to say they mean well. Opposition should always go at their jugular, scrutinize them, tear them apart in terms of policies and objectives, but should not do anything that would be unconstitutional. You know, this kind of principled opposition is allowed. And from what we have seen so far, questions that have been asked about the Lagos rail line project. Remember, I told you the other day that, so why are people counting the chickens before they are hatched? It's almost the same thing that FAROTIMI is saying here.
Right. We did talk about that last week.
At what cost? Yes. At what cost is this entire project? What is in it for Nigerians? And on and on like that. Question would be asked. Because Nigerians are not dummies, and nobody should try to sell them dummies. This is what this is about. Quite brilliant, a contribution on his part. So TINUBU cannot extricate himself, cannot exonerate himself from bringing Buhari, and concerning what he's doing currently as the leader of Nigeria, he must accept responsibility. If
he's going to need, he's going to need some solid set of results to back that up.
Oh yes, if what he's administering is not working, he should try other options. He should not be that obstinate. He should not be stubborn. The one that Professor Wale Soyinka was trying to play up the other day, Olori Kuku and all that. You see, this is no moment to parody in a dramatic way. This is a moment that calls for serious solutions to everyday living situation in the country called Nigeria.
Absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to Brother Ben. I see you in the chat, bro. All right. So, until it's just like sometimes when I talk, it almost sounds like I'm defending TINUBU. TINUBU will have to answer to lots of accountability. Nothing, like you said, is going to exonerate him from that. But Mr. DELE FAROTIMI said something. We are the only one that can save ourselves. That is the center of everything I talk about. So of course that's going to make me attempt to take your attention away from blaming TINUBU and put the focus back on what we can control as a people. You know, so two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not even blaming TINUBU. In spite of all this, everybody saw that things were not probably 100% okay with TINUBU as a person, but they still use the system to prop him up. There is this thing about Nigeria. It looks like deliberately we look for people that have one issue or the other, people that seem to be weak on certain issues or the other. We prop them up and then we hand them the flag that, oh, you are the leader. Was Buhari himself really okay when they went to drag him, or when he presented himself like the chauvinistic individual that has been, you know, and people supported him? TINUBU himself, Yaradua, so many other people. You see strong people standing, people who look like, oh, they have the solution to the real issues of life in Nigeria. They will be ignored. They will be ridiculed. Everybody is saying today, oh, Sowore is not this enough, it's not that enough. But they know it's got something to contribute.
Speaking of Sowore, why don't we let's round up this segment, and then we're going to talk about Sowore in about 20 seconds. Okay.
Thank you.
Hit that like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. We'll be back in 20 seconds. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about Omoyele Sowore. There's a small video I'm going to play, and then we're going to talk about his return home to New Jersey. For the longest, they always claim New York City, but I guess it's really just New Jersey. Let's get to it.
A homecoming tonight in New Jersey for a journalist who was detained in Nigeria for nearly 5 years. This is a story we've covered since he was first arrested, and tonight he spoke only to CBS 2's Derek Waller about how he thought he was going to die behind bars.
How does it feel to be home?
I can't even describe it because I never thought I would make it back here.
Nigerian-American journalist Yele Sowore, arrested on charges of treason in 2019, set free on bond, only to be kidnapped in that same courtroom. Tonight, reunited with his wife and 2 children in the Bergen County borough of Haworth, in front of this standing room-only crowd.
Why is the Nigerian government so afraid of you?
I think my biggest offense is establishing a media company that exposes corruption. Because corruption is Nigeria's biggest problem.
The founder of SaharaReporters.com brought home with help from Congressman Josh Gottheimer.
Can't wait to you to come home and so we can have a slice of pizza, because I know that's what I would miss both if I were away. So we got you a pie. I promised you a pie.
His office putting pressure on Nigerian officials and the U.S. State Department, helping with Sowore's green card.
After you travel for a year without coming here, you lose it. So it wouldn't have been easy had he not been involved.
His wife, Opeyami, also instrumental, appearing on CBS 2 multiple times over the years and organizing this yellow ribbon campaign, one for each day her husband was wrongfully detained.
Yele, we love you. We're so happy that you're home safely. We're going to do a bonfire tonight and take your passport.
Are you going to burn that passport?
Well, my wife might burn the passport, but you can't burn the will to make Nigeria become a democratic, a successful and prosperous society. So,
Will you ever go back?
I will. There's no going back on making Nigeria a better country.
And sadly, the number of journalists around the world being wrongfully detained is on the rise, with authoritarian regimes in places like Russia, Iran, China, Turkey, cracking down on something that, frankly, many Americans take for granted: freedom.
All right, that's a big story. I'm looking at the comments here before you continue, Chief. Comment says, whoa, I support his wife. She tried. About burning the passport, of course. But what's your take on Omoyele Sowore made it back to the United States after 5 years? This was scary. Potentially. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to deal with them.
You felt that?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Because you're a journalist, you can relate. Potentially, this man could have been destroyed.
But beyond that, from the foundation of the world, even to the moment, why is it that people or governments will go after righteous characters, individuals who do nothing other than just to uphold the ethics of their profession, to see that the space is made equal for everybody to thrive? Yele could have lost his life.
Yeah, he could have been destroyed completely.
They actually were going to kill him.
Yes.
You know that in the days of Abacha, there were journalists. There were journalists in the days of Abacha who were picked up on trumped-up charges and were given the death sentence, some life imprisonment. Before they came back, what the Nigerian state will do They even tried it with Professor Wole Soyinka in those days when he was joining elements known as the Third Force to make sure that the Nigerian Civil War did not happen. They were always using people in his family to spite him. But in this case, they've not been able to turn his wife against him. Maybe because the wife believes in the vision of the husband and
that's
back
the only way.
US to conscientize, to arouse the conscience of the world to what they were doing to
that's the only way.
Let me tell you, there were times journalists were arrested in Nigeria before they were released, before they came back. State-sponsored individuals had rigged all kinds of sexual scandals. Condoms found in the homes, whether planted or used with the wife and all that.
Of course,
some of us that are, into this profession, you know, the cost for us in terms of our marriage expectations and what have you. So I know what I'm talking. At a point, there used to be somebody who told me. Somebody told me how somebody used to spite Wole Soyinka. Oh, instead of minding the children, your young family, you are busy spending your money collecting artifacts, artworks, and criticizing government. You know, when it looks like your family has turned against you, what else do you have? Nelson Mandela in prison.
Yeah.
Lost
for how many years?
27 years. 27 solid years. It was life imprisonment, but he spent 27 years. From that, he stepped into glory. While Sowore was going through whatever I was going through, apart from the fact that in Nigeria he lost a younger brother in questionable circumstance. There was, when he would travel outside Abuja for the first time in almost 3 years that it's been held down by the system, his passport held. So he flew into Ondo State. I was at Akure Airport alongside other friends and colleagues and his political apostles to welcome him. And Sowore and I, after welcoming him, we sat in his, in the vehicle that drove him from the airport. And we were discussing so many things, and I was ruminating. He was to go to Kiribo, his hometown, and he went there indeed to come back. A young man, one of the few people who loved him so much, had come alongside others to go and celebrate the fact that he's been allowed to come back to Ondo State to visit his hometown for the first time in 3 years. You know, that boy, that person was involved in an accident at around Oderele in Lutitu, and the young man died. So I was expecting Sowore to stop by in Ayede Ogbese to visit with me, and then to also introduce him to political actors around the community.
Right.
Sowore could not make it back. You look at all these losses. Is it about the stroke for his mother? The trouble for his younger siblings like Allen, Sowore, the lawyer, and what have you. So, while I congratulate him, while I'm happy for him and his wife, why I'm crying is how many more of Nigerian youths, how many more of Nigerian citizens would the system want to destroy? They killed DELE. They killed so many people. They have destroyed so many homes. So all for what? Because we have this burning passion in us to make sure that we evolve a credible society, a good place for all of us to live in as equal members of the human race, the human family. But the leaders there, they continue to operate at a level that is below what you would imagine belongs to the present age in which we live. Yeah. And they would find all justifications to want to kill a good person. They want to destroy a talent. Look at what they have done to Sahara reporters as an iconic media organization. Look at what they continue to do to journalists all over the place. And there are even journalists, so-called, who are ever willing to sing the tune of the government of the day. Sowore has survived this. I do not know why the wife want to burn the passport, but that is their family decision, wherever it swings, and you have heard him. That is an irrepressible soul. He's a liberated soul.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have him back on American soil, and anytime he wants to go to Nigeria, it's our land of birth.
Yeah.
In the past, there were times they put the names of so many of us. Omoyele Sowore, Jackson Ude, Oladimeji Abitogun, Churchill Umoren, Emeka Asiwe, Sunday Fashe. We were the endangered species just because we would write it the way it's supposed to be. And the establishment media in Nigeria does not even make it easy. But we all have to work as a unit. We have to work together. We cannot turn against each other, because the people who are destroying Nigeria, who are destroying Africa, who are destroying the world in which we live, they are united in their objective.
Yeah.
So why should we be divided? It's good to have him back on American soil.
Yeah.
He's a free citizen of the world.
That's the nature of power. But as the world progresses, we absolutely continue to need forces.
Ola, you know that the narrative about Omoyele Sowore reminds me of Thomas Paine. Yeah, he could be regarded as the father of modern journalism in America. That man, a parliamentarian, a journalist, did so much to rally the American troops to victory during the American War of Independence, the American Revolution. But you know that the people who were running America were so scared of this guy. They demonized him so much so that the day he died, when he was to be buried, there were only 6 people at his funeral. Somebody who had rallied American troops, who had rallied American public to victory. Same thing Sowore is doing. You won't find so many people standing with him. You won't find so many people standing with journalists who want to report nothing other than in an objective fashion.
Yeah,
you won't find anybody standing with them. They will be alone. But you know what?
I'm listening.
It will be said of them in the final analysis that they stood for what constitutes the kernel of their profession and calling.
Yeah, people get human beings. It's the human experience is a very interesting thing. When there's power, people get power drunk. When you're pushing against.
And the good thing about this is that TINUBU has chosen not to inherit the crime of his predecessor.
Buhari.
Yes, his prejudice, his fears. And
what do you think? What do you think he said? He probably like, come on, sign off.
That is what he has to say about. That is what he has to say about the IPOB chief too, Nnamdi Kanu.
Nnamdi Kanu.
We cannot embrace the injustices and inherit the injustices perpetrated by the Nigerian state, successive leadership, against them, helpless, innocent citizens. Let the people go. Let them live free. Make the place okay for everyone. That is
Can you imagine how much older his son is?
You said?
Can you imagine how much older his son and his daughter is?
Yes, 5 years ago.
In their growing phase.
That's a long time. And let me also tell you this, Ola.
Yes, sir.
People who are doing all this, who are pushing all this kind of terrible stuff against their citizens, do they ever think? You know how much Buhari, TINUBU, all these Nigerians, how much they spend to get good press? Sowore did not have to spend. You know what it means to appear on CBS?
I know. But he could have been destroyed.
That is the power of truth right there. It will open. Truth would open doors.
let's do this. Let's do this. I want us to celebrate this, that he was able to make it back to his family.
That is what we are celebrating.
Yeah.
That is, it is a moment of joy for us. He sent me some stuff when he was about to leave Nigeria. We took care of that. But personally, I've not been able to call him because I really want him to save all this. I don't want to interrupt his
time with his family.
This sacred moment. You know, I mean, how it feels. And it's going to be busy all over the world. It's welcome to the free world. This is what we would say.
All right, let's see if we can get him on the platform too. But Sowore has gone through a lot in that last 5 years.
Yes,
and it will be interesting to hear his take without all the noise, you know.
Yes,
you know, as soon as we can. Yeah,
it's so irrepressible. It's this is so great a moment for all of us.
The greater, you just mentioned Bola Ige, the greatest of them all. They are destroyed in this process, never to be seen again.
No, I said DELE Giwa, not just Bola Ige. You know,
no, I just mentioned that one. But yes, was DELE Giwa greater than Bola Ige?
Bola Ige was in his own world. DELE Giwa was in his own world. But
that's what I meant. I was just mentioning one of them.
See, if you grew up reading DELE Giwa in his column, Parallax Snaps, not just him, the master pro stylists that were on the stage in Nigeria, not just at Newswatch table, everywhere in Nigeria. Oh God, Dan Agbese writing, Yakubu Mohammed, Reefu, all these guys. These were guys that the system had wanted to destroy, and eventually, look at the one they used to destroy Newswatch Legacy. I'm told that it too is jostling to become governor of Ondo State. Anyway, we thank God that Omoyele Sowore, not Wole Soyinka, Omoyele Sowore is back with his family. We will let him enjoy these few days, and we can plug in as friends and then associates and comrades and celebrate with him. But journalists must not lower the guard. We should continue to thrive. So many people have disappeared. You know, yes. Name is Steve Oguchinua, who assisted us in staying on a story in those days when I was with Point Blank News and at the initial stage of starting SharpEdge News. You know, lawyer Giwa Amu in Ikeja, Lagos, stood in for him. Nobody, since that matter, nobody can, I don't know if they are finding him yet, nobody can trace his whereabouts. That's an investigative news reporter that just disappeared into the thin air in Nigeria.
Just like
nobody has been able. Yes.
Yeah.
This is somebody who was investigating the involvement of the wife of a so-called publisher in Nigeria. News publisher in Nigeria, a famous news publisher. How the guy disappeared, nobody knows till today. Steve Oguchinua, originally from Delta State, but spoke Yoruba fluently. Nobody knows where he is till today, unless they have found him. But I don't have that information. He was in the police force. You know what they have done to individuals in the system? So it does not matter whether it's the Bola Ige, DELE Giwa, or what have you.
Right.
People just die.
A lot of people over the years.
Do to Omoyele Sowore. Now look at them. They are reaping a bad press from it all.
Yeah, the bad press.
What a shame.
And if it's the Omoyele Sowore that I know, he's very good at that anyway. So, but they deserve it.
But you know, Yele is not vindictive. He probably will be laughing.
He doesn't need to be vindictive.
This story is he will just be mocking them, be looking at them. It shows how little their mind is. These people must develop that mental magnitude that would let them have thin skin for criticism and suggestions.
Right. That's a big part of this dynamic, right?
Yes.
The press, of course, we've talked about the fact that he could have been destroyed, but the press, the respect that they need to continue to apply to the new age media, social media, all of that, and how it works.
The new media.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to get away with, especially when they move, particularly when they move from a place of arrogance and pride. It's not going to work.
They should begin to view people like Omoyele Sowore as major assets.
Yeah.
Major assets. Look at how much Buhari spends to get good president. He doesn't have it. Because the character is telling the kind of person he is.
Yeah. All right, let's leave this at this. I think we've done today's justice. Do us a favor, hit that like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified whenever we go live. We'll be back next week for another Sharp Edge News TV reports. Have a good one. Bye now. Let's see.